Good. Call the Harrison County Commission meeting for Wednesday, June 28th, 2023 to order. If you will rise and join us in your invocation and pledge, please.
Heavenly Father, we come to you with thanks. We thank you for all the good things that are happening in our lives and in our county and around us. I pray for all the individuals in this room that they have a wonderful day with peace and kindness in their lives and all get home safe to their families. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Anyone signed up to speak?
No.
Is there anyone on Zoom that wishes to speak publicly? Anyone on Zoom wish to speak publicly? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to number 2, consent agenda. What's the pleasure?
Motion approved.
Motion to approve consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 3, payroll change notices A through F. What's the pleasure?
Motion approved A through F, please.
Motion to approve number 3A through F. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Number 4, minutes and or minutes of previous meetings A through C. These are drafts.
Motion approved the draft. A through C.
Okay, motion to approve the drafts A through C, or turn it into the initial document and then I sign. Okay, is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Motion carried. Number 5, requisition purchase orders invoices as shown on vendor list of payments. There are several on there that I looked at that are estimated costs. And I guess we've approved these in the past, but I do believe this needs to be addressed. I don't have to, I do, but I'm only because I have in the past. I don't know how you estimate lodging and various other costs when you're going somewhere. I just want to make that clear. Everybody else is aware of those. Let's say that. What's the pleasure for number 5?
For a motion to pull.
I mean, that's,
I guess that's my question.
it's up to us. I think what we want to do. I mean, I think it definitely needs to be addressed either now or in the future. They're leaving today to go on a trip for one of them. And I've done this in the past. That's why we might want to sit down and speak about it first. That's just my thoughts. You guys can speak up if you want to.
If we approve them this time like we have in the past, then we can work to make sure.
I
this
mean,
doesn't.
There's
happen
not,
again.
I mean, they've gotten the information back to us, but back to the bookkeeping department. They've already sent some of it, I think. But I don't know that there's a real problem, but I don't think that's where we want to do our requisition. That estimated cost. That's just me speaking. So, maybe approve it now, but or if you would, or somebody needs to take care of that in the future. This happens at the end of the year. Trying to move money around and do some things.
And get it in this fiscal year.
When you order something, you should know how much it costs, in my opinion. I always know what, if I'm going to requisition, I'm going to know how much it costs before I turn it in. So. What's the pleasure on number 5?
Motion approved, please.
Motion to approve 5A. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, hearing none, motion carried. I guess guess it is 11:04. You really don't want to say 11:05. Okay, 11:05, leasing Summit Park to West Virginia Softball League. Mr. Menendez is here. In this game, did you all want to speak to what you all are planning on doing out there and would like for us to do?
Yeah, sure. We're just, looking for a place, the Summit Park fields have been underutilized for ages. And we're just looking for a place for, just be a home for the girls. They really don't have the same kind of opportunity like, in Clarksburg with, as baseball does, things like that. We kind of get shoved off the fields when it comes to, baseball season starting. Things like that, and just, when she grew up and when I was younger, that's where softball was, and it was all girls softball. We just have a lot of people that want to help us and, get those fields, ready to go for fall, start running three seasons a year, fall, spring and summer, and, look to not really mention it to anybody, but we think that even by fall, we'll probably have about 150 girls to sign up. Which is fall would be the lesser season of the two as well, but we're not even asking for anything other than just the use of the fields. And we would have donors take care of fixing things up. We'd be maintaining it, fixing the fields up and keep them looking right. We just think that there needs to be more opportunity for girls softball in the area. A lot of other surrounding counties and cities do have it. I think that the girls love softball just as much as the boys love baseball, so I just want to give them that opportunity.
I agree. You don't want to, you don't want to add anything.
No,
Okay.
I'm perfect.
So basically, you guys just want to lease it, you'll fix the field up,
We'll-
we'll cut the
we'll-
grass, and I mean, and Trey we can come up with some kind of lease.
Yes, or whatever, and just so we can have the fields and, obviously within reason of, like. We'd like something worked up to where it's not like we have to panic at the end of every season, will we still have these, will we still, you know what I mean, like.
And you're willing to work with the community at the events that they have.
Oh, yes,
They already go on up there.
yeah, like the, like the reunions and like, I guess the
Livestock.
auctions and stuff like that, of course, anything that was ever running up there and things like that, and honestly, when I was even before you put softball there, I played T-ball and things like that there, and even Babe Ruth, I practiced there. And just we'd like to bring a little more life to that area as well, so we have, I think we'd really brighten up the area as well. I mean, talking new fencing, new everything, just really fixing it up and making it look like it did when we were kids. Give these girls something to really be proud of and let them fix it up themselves.
And then there's another group that will use it.
Yes, the West Virginia Patriots softball contact for baseball is Kurt Skazik. And I spoke to him again last night. He knows I'm coming in and speaking today. He just wants, he was just asking to use it a couple hours a week for his travel team practice. And I said, no, I could put something in writing for that. And that's no big deal. I've known Kurt since we were about 10, so that's no issue at all. So happy to work with what we can to, make things work for these girls.
I'm excited about this. I think it's great for Summit Park. It's great for Harrison County, sports,
I think so too.
softball, baseball.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate you all taking the time.
Well, we've got
The
lots of
energy
people
that
that
you
wanna-
want to put into this.
Well, there's always a lot of people that want to help as long as there's a couple people that are willing to lead the charge. I've always kind of defined. So if people want to a lot of people are good to help along. They just don't want to be the initiator,
You don't
so.
have a problem with that.
No, a little too abrasive to not enjoy that aspect of it.
So basically, I think I'd like for Laura to be able to work with Trey, Bobby, and Kurt to come up with some kind of lease or plan that we can do. I mean, that's my vision anyway. I don't know about the rest of you.
Sure.
And Bobby, let me just say, you have applied for nonprofit status.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just waiting.
All the paperwork's done. We've got, paperwork, actually for everything, separate bank accounts, separate everything's filed.
Thank
Ready to go. No problem. No, as soon as it just comes back our way, we've got it. Small business license or business license, things like that. It's all underway. Okay.
Yeah, man, that's, I'll make a motion to move forward with the Lafayette County Administrator, with the county attorney and the participating parties to come up with an agreement that's fair to everyone. Unfortunately, we will make sure the deposit, it does fall apart, it comes right back to us, without any question, of course, and, but at the same time, we have neglected that part, in my opinion, we've talked about that since I came on the commission. David and I have always felt that it was underutilized and not maintained as well as it could be, so, Susan has said all I can say.
Okay, well, that's under number 6, review, discuss, consider leasing Summit Park to West Virginia Girls Softball League. So the motion's been made for the appropriate parties to get together to work through this. This we can bring something back. Is there any further discussion?
Well, are we gonna make any investment in this endeavor?
I think the park is our investment, and I think we are, the plan is that we're going to cut grass as far, I mean, and if need be, I think, you know.
You're cutting the grass now.
No,
No.
No, you guys are, then, yeah, if you just wanted to keep doing that and let us use the park, I mean, like, that's, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, sir, I mean, I'm not gonna turn down any help, but at the same time, I'm also not asking for any additional help.
Well, I just know some of the projects, at least as the last time I was out here, hadn't been totally completed.
We've been working on those, David, for a lot, you know.
So I'm just wanting to make sure that
Yeah,
what we started.
It's finished.
Sure. Oh, if there's something started, then
that was 4 years ago.
sure.
So
But
our
I think
frustration is,
that's
have you come over,
something that-
you're a breath of fresh air.
Well, no, like I said, I'm just, yeah, just happy to have all
All the new fencing's been done up on the field, new backstop.
not on field, not on the upper field. It has,
Fencing hadn't been-
new dugouts have been done.
So that was all supposed to have been done.
Well, that's something, get together and figure out
By
what,
Parks.
and if it needs done, we get it done, or we work with them to get it done. Fair enough? Well, the council back.
I know that Neil's fence, which is now, it's run through 304 fence now, is they did that bottom field and it looks great. In fact, a friend of mine, Mike Stump, is one of the is a guy that helps, that does all that stuff. And he said that he had worked previously with him, so and he knows that I kind of gave him the idea of like, you know, hey, we're gonna want this fence stuff done, and he went and drove by and did a drive-by, so I think that he's ready to help with whatever fashion we need it, whether it's you guys continuing to do something or us just starting fresh, whatever. But the fencing is gonna be imperative, because if you want people to move their kids over and well, I think, well, I'm on the pony baseball board and once I resign there, I think that a litany of girls are just gonna leave, and I don't think they'll keep softball anyway. So but you wanna fix it up as nice as you can, because you want to give people something for their money and give them something to look at. So the fencing's imperative, because like, it's gonna dress up everything. Just the new fence, get rid of the rust and the danger. Yeah, so.
Are we missing anything?
No, it can be done. We just have to incorporate the underlying covenants, which are on the county, and the vesting documents within the lease. But I can draft something, work with Laura and Bobby to get something prepared and bring back to you all.
Mhm.
Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried, and like Patrick said, play ball.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay. 11:10, it's 11:13, update progress Mountain Trail Network, Andrew Walker.
Yeah, so I'm Andrew Walker from the Mountaineer Trail Network Recreation Authority. I'm the newer-ish executive director. I was hired back in October. So and then Ken Spellman here with me, and then George Finley as well. So just they're coming along. We basically want to give you all an update. It's probably been a little while since somebody from the Mountaineer Trail Network has been here to kind of tell you what we've been working on. So want to give a bit of an update. We have a vacant seat in Harrison County, and we're looking to see if you all would appoint George to our board. And then also have a potential funding request towards the end as well. So just Can't kick it
You've
off.
seen me here before, and appreciate your willingness to let us talk today. This is a really exciting time for trails, not just in Harrison County, but throughout the region and throughout the state. There's a lot of trail activity. And the trail activity is broader and more diverse than ever before. I'm here as a representative of several organizations. One is the Harrison Recreational Trails Group, which used to be Harrison Rail Trails. We've expanded our mission to include non-motorized trails of all kinds because we see that the trail users that use rail trails also like mountain bike trails, also like water trails, and we want to advocate for a diverse trail system here in Harrison County. I'm also here as the chair of the board of West Virginia Trail, which is a statewide organization that works to advance policy and funding and information and advocacy for trails of all kinds in West Virginia. But I'm mostly here today as a board member of the Mountaineer Trail Network Recreation Authority, which covers 16 counties. And Andrew's going to give you more information about what's going on with that organization in just a few minutes. I've been working on trails since 1988. I started and was one of the founders of the North Bend Rail Trail, which we're still working on with Trey right now to bring it into Harrison County and into Clarksburg. That's a long project, but I think we'll eventually get there. But for all my love of trails, I tell people all the time, I really don't care about trails. What I care about is what trails do for communities, for citizens in those communities, for connecting communities, and for driving economic development and community development. So that's really what we're about, is improving our communities. We think trails are a way to do that. We're gonna turn it over to George here to talk a little bit about himself and why he's interested in serving on the board of Mountaineer Trail Network. I do want to say that trails are one of the top amenities that families are looking for in deciding where they want to live. It's one of the things that help them decide where they want to raise their family. And the more we do to create access to trails throughout Harrison County, the more attractive we're making our county as a place to live. So George, why don't you tell a little bit about yourself and why the hell are you going to this?
Well, George Finley, lifelong Clarksburg and Harrison County resident. Business owner for many, many years in the city. I am a avid trail user, avid trail maintenance volunteer, and have become an avid trail advocate. I've worked with the state parks up in Tucker County on a trail system up there, worked with Watersmith State Park here in Harrison County on developing a trail out there. I'm principally a mountain biker, but do rail trail riding, hiking, and have traveled fairly extensively throughout the Southeast, riding various trail networks. And what I've found doing that over the past year is the camp is dead on target, is what trail hubs bring to communities is phenomenal. I mean, little towns have become big towns. And a lot of it is because of outdoor recreation. And so my love of mountain biking and getting out on trails has turned into, as Ken says, I still like trails, but now that I've figured out that trails can really help your community, I've become far more interested. So I've joined Harrison County Recreational Trail Board. I'm in the process of an appointment with the state of West Virginia. Just waiting on Jimmy J to sign the document to become a member of the West Virginia Recreational Trail Advisory Board. So I think
You got it, man.
I had that right.
That's the first thing you have to know.
Yeah. And so today I'm here with these fellas and in front of you to ask for your blessing for an appointment to fill a vacant board seat with the MT NRA. There you have it.
And yeah, so I would like to give you all just a brief update on what we've been working on for at least the last year and a half. So, as you may or may not know, so in 2019, there was an act of state legislation that created the Mountaineer Trail Network, out of a bill that made multi-county, trail networks a possibility. So we have a couple different roles. So on the one hand, we're community development tool. So as Kent and George both mentioned, trails present an awesome opportunity to really enrich communities. So we definitely work a lot. That's one of our main principal phases. Another point is we operate as kind of one part economic development corporation. So using trails as a tool to be able to enrich communities, drive local economies, bring people from inside those communities to be able to use those resources, and then also look to work within those communities to build those resources out. So that people that are maybe traveling through the area seek out these areas to kind of stay, use the trails, and then hopefully spend money. So what we've been working on specifically for the last year is we've been doing capacity building first. So building up the board, that culminated with the hiring of myself as the executive director in October. Since October, we've been working in the next several phases of our project. So right now we have an ARC power grant that we're operating underneath. That will culminate in the fall of 2024 with the launch of the initial Mountaineer Trail Network, like a trail network area. So we have 5 initial hub areas that we're working in currently to essentially launch the network out. And we have funds, we're doing infrastructure improvement projects, mostly through signage, because we're finding that it's kind of like the lowest kind of barrier to entry for most of these trail systems is having good unified signage systems so people can figure where they are. Other improvements, we're working on kiosks, we're working on river access on the Cheat River Water Trail for put-ins and takeouts. And then working with these communities to basically find opportunities for local businesses to be able to utilize the trails that they have. So as we work through that, the next year or so, we'll be finishing up these infrastructure improvement plans, and then launching these 5 initial hub areas. And then it's our goal that once we launch, we'll have these 5, but we're not going to stop there. We don't want to stop there. So there's 16 counties in the network. Not all of them are represented, obviously, in the first 5 hub areas. So that's where we're going to look. We're looking for like our next phase of development after the initial 5 launch. And that's where I think Harrison County can have a big place. Mount Wood is one of our hub areas over in Wood County. And then we've got Big Bear Lake Trail Center in Preston County, Cheat River Water Trail in Preston County and Tucker County, the Camp 70 Trail System in Tucker County, and then the Snowshoe Highlands Area Ride Center down in Pocahontas County. I feel pretty strongly, and these folks will talk a little bit more about it here in a second, that we have a whole lot of opportunities in some of the mountain towns, and then we have Mount Wood that's over in Wood County. So Marion County, Taylor County, Mon County, all those groups have already signed on with some funds and also some action. And we're looking to continue that as we move towards Wood County to offer some mountain biking and paddling opportunities that we can kind of add to that next phase of development so we can continue to build out our interconnected network. So lastly, we're working through branding at the moment. So we hired a nationally ranked firm that's going to be doing all of our logo and branding here in the next month and a half. That'll turn into a signage project that we'll be working through to sign out all those 5 hub areas. And then lastly, in January or February of this next year, we'll be working with a nationally ranked firm to produce and put out a website that'll tie all the trail amenities on one half, and then all of the like lodging, breweries, food, all of those amenities on the other half, so that people that are living in the communities and then also want to come to those communities can find all that information in one area. And that will essentially tie all of our network opportunities together as we move forward. So with that being said, I'll turn it over to the 2 of them to speak a little bit more.
Well, I just say that HRT, Harrison Recreational Trails, has shifted its focus specifically to feed into the Mountaineer Trail Network's work, so that Harrison County will become one of the next hubs for that organization to promote and develop. That's one of the reasons we diversified our approach to include all non-motorized trails. And I think we're positioned really well. We've strengthened our board, we've diversified our board. We've added an AmeriCorps working with us to identify put-ins and takeouts along the West Fork River so that we can have a really viable water trail there. that connects to the rail trail. It's in many, many places. So we're working hard to sort of position ourselves to become a Mountaineer Trail Network hub in the next couple of years. I don't know if you've been down by the VA park near the tunnel at the VA park, but there's a new shelter that Harrison Recreational Trails has built there. We're in the process of securing somebody to put a concrete pad underneath that. We put that together at our cost, at no cost to the county. And we're going to continue doing projects like that on our rail trails and our other trailheads around the county. We've worked with a Boy Scout as an Eagle project to develop mile markers that he has completed and turned over to the county. The county is going to be installing them. There'll be 12 on the Harrison South Trail and 6 on the Harrison North Trail. He's also built 8 benches, which will be installed along those rail trails as well. So there's a lot of activity. One of the things we're working on, Andrew talked about signage and the importance of signage. One of the things we're working on, the HRT group, is to identify what signage we believe is needed to make the trails as user-friendly as possible. Want to add anything, Bob?
Only just to build on what was already said, Harrison, I think Harrison County has such a great opportunity to be literally a hub. You've got the North Bend Trail coming from Parkersburg, almost to Clarksburg. Once Trey is the home run with CSX. P to P, so Parkersburg to Pittsburgh, Ohio, and then over the CNO to DC. That's a big picture, but in our little picture right here in Harrison County, we've got Watersmith State Park, but that's about it. We've got a small system that we're sort of trying over in Bridgeport, but it hasn't really gotten a lot of traction. But to the north of us is Valley Falls, and then Morgantown's got a lot of things happening. They got Cooper's Rock. To the west of us, you got Mount Wood and North Bend State Park. To the east of us in Preston County, Big Bear, Tucker County, not very far away. There's a nice little system in Philippi. But Harrison needs more. And I think if we can continue to work through the HRT and the MTRA, that we can bring that to Harrison County. So
one of the things that was recently approved by the Clarksburg City Council was matching funds and a resolution in support of a recreational trails program grant that would build a multi-use trail system and bike park on Lowndes Hill. I think that would be a great addition because we're going to be able to connect that with the rail trail, with the water trail, and with downtown Clarksburg. And all of that is going to be a small economic driver, but more than anything else, we ask people to not be thinking about trails strictly in terms of tourism dollars. Think in terms of how trails make the community more attractive for families to move here, for families to bring their small businesses here, for us to grow our community. That's what it's.
And lastly, we've been working throughout the 16 counties on a funding model. So like I mentioned earlier, we're operating under an ARC Power Grant at the moment. That will finish up in the fall of 2024. So part of our funding strategy going forward is first and foremost to work with the county commissions and the counties that support the network to ask for funding. There are some other mechanisms within the state legislature and then some other opportunities that we're working with as well. We have 5 initial counties that have signed on with funding for the Mountaineer Trail Network. And those funds initially will go into some of the administrative functions, making sure we can continue on our path, making sure that we're developing more hubs and interconnecting the network together. So I do have a funding request for you all, either this meeting or potentially at another meeting, the next meeting, but we have been asking for $10,000 for each of the counties that are made up of the Mountaineer Trail Network. So.
And I want to stress that Harrison Rail Trails or Recreational Trails, which is your local trail group, serves the county, is bringing you value, not asking you for money. We are bringing you a shelter that probably costs between $5,000 and $6,000 when it's completed. So we're not asking for money, but we do want to support Mountaineer Trail Network's request for support. Any questions?
You're not gonna fill out it.
Yes, as for the funding request, I can respond to that one. I'll need you to fill out the paperwork and have everything, because we asked for some documents and everything.
Sure.
The girls can get it get it to you even before you leave today.
Great.
Fill it out, and then we'll schedule an appointment for a future meeting for that.
Excellent.
And as far as George's appointment, I believe that'll have to be on the agenda as well.
That will as well. We didn't,
It wasn't on this agenda, so you'll put it on the next agenda.
yes.
Because he's taking,
John sees,
John, I couldn't think of his
Correct.
name, Mr. Ceaseless.
Yeah.
Okay.
and that's fine. We're gonna put George to work right away, whether he's
Well,
appointed.
it sounds like he's already done one.
Well, yeah, thank you very much for your time, and
Thanks,
it's good to
guys.
give you updates, so.
Appreciate it.
Keep up the good work. Okay, number
Thank
7,
you all.
Thanks.
exoneration corrective tickets, joint property applications, as I guess we just have A, exoneration. It's on exhibit A. What's the pleasure? Motion to approve 7A. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. I guess passed. I was looking at the next item. Number 8, review, discuss, consider order for delinquent or unprogressed estates. We've already voted to do this, correct? This is just the order.
As president said.
I think everybody's signed this.
Okay, motion to have commission sign.
Okay, motion to have commission sign the orders concerning delinquent or unprogressed estates. Any further discussion or any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Number 9, review, discuss, consider promoting Michelle Hawkins to Director of Special Projects.
So, I sent out an email that as of July 1st, I would like to make Michelle Tonkin the Director of Special Projects. She has been very helpful. And I did not think that it needed to be on the agenda. So, Commissioner Hinkle,
Madam President, I did have one question. She'll still be a 1-2 punch with Gina up there.
she will help Gina.
No, sir. According to this position description. The job that she's taking, that's my question. Is she gonna hold 2 positions within the courthouse?
No, she will be the Director of Special Projects. If I give her a project to help Gina with a certain grant or whatever, then yes, she can help Gina.
Okay, but Gina's been her boss, correct?
She has been.
Okay, and we asked her to come down and give you a hand at budget, and that's what we were asked. If it was all right, for her to come down and help you with budget.
Well, we did have her come down around budget time
To help
And-
with budget,
to help with budget and other things.
okay,
And we have utilized her in several different capacities during that time frame. And even back at budget time frame, we had the discussion if this should work out and we change things where she would be made a position to help me like Director of Special Projects, and maybe I didn't use that exact wording. Then we talked about her salary as well. That was all discussed back in March.
what's her title right now?
Right now, until July 1st, she is the Deputy Director of Grants and Special Projects. And then we will be splitting that.
Be splitting it out, I don't see that in this position description.
Gina will be the Director of Grants. Michelle will be the Director of Special Projects.
Does Gina have any control over her?
No,
So the reason we hired her was to help Gina with work, so. Are we replacing her for Gina?
not at this time.
I'm kind of confused, and if we thought she needed help, and now we're not giving her. Somebody can help me out up here. And that was the reason we hired her, was for grants and to work on grants. And I don't know, let's see, we're in the rail trail, so. Mon County and Morgantown just got a grant from Department of Highways Recreational Trail Program, Active Grant Program, Division of Health and Chronic Disease. From Milan, Oakland, People's Bikes, West Virginia Land Trust, your Community Foundation of North Central West Virginia, Monterey River Trails Conservancy, Mountain Valley Resources, West Virginia Division of Multimodal Transportation Facilities. I think we got an issue in grants. But I don't see how we take people out of grants.
I believe Gina is more than capable. She has been doing a fantastic job. We had someone to assist her with that, because she would be retiring. And thankfully she stayed on, and then, you know, applying for grants left and right. Gina has submitted several grants to the rail trail system for, we have 2 grants actually on the agenda today. And if in the future we see that she needs help, we can always revisit that and look at getting her more help if that's the need at the time.
I'm just confused. Why she's already doing this stuff under grants, Rescue Plan Act. She's already assisted you when you have issues. Why we're inventing a new spot.
To me, it just makes sense.
Susan, I'd like to know your opinion on why we're making a new
I
person.
think she's been a tremendous asset to the commission during her time down here, and I don't have an issue with this. And if Gina needs help, I'm sure she can be assigned to help Gina. I don't, or we can, like Laura said, we'll look at it later.
Look at what later.
We can sit down and discuss the grants with Gina and see what kind of help she needs and find her help. But I think she's been a tremendous asset down here
I mean,
as far as getting us through the budget time, and then she's been assigned, you have had her do things for you, and I believe we've had this discussion. And I thought you felt the same way, but obviously you've got an issue.
I just have an issue with coming up with another job description for somebody, or just keep adding to, job positions within the county. I don't see why we need to
I
add
don't think we
something.
need to go there.
I think she's already, position she's already in, she can do everything that's here. The only issue is that she's not responsible to Laura's what I see from the job description. And then my second issue with all this is, was it offered to any of the other employees and was it put out in bid? Because it is a new position within the courthouse. And it should have been offered publicly, and it should have been offered to anybody who works in the courthouse.
If we're gonna start that,
It's
we
just a
need to
new
start
position.
doing this with everything. We don't do things consistent in this courthouse. They never have, and I don't think it ever will happen, just like with these requisitions. There's stuff that needs to be looked at, and it needs to be looked at hard, and if this is one of them, then yes, we need to do it.
We just did it here recently for animal control, try to promote within, and it's been put out for bid.
And you can't find people to work. You get people and then they don't stay.
But it is being advertised, and we said then that we were not gonna do this anymore. We were gonna put this stuff out for bid.
I don't think that was,
That's what-
I think you've forgotten some things. but-
Mr. Zimmerman, would you like to remind us that you suggested that we put new positions out?
That's not what I'm talking about.
Well, I'm just trying to understand, we had to do it for the dog position, put it back out, or put it out for bid and not hire within, why are we doing this? That's not consistent. If we're gonna be consistent, then it should be put out for anybody to have the opportunity. Or she just stays in the position she is, and we say that she helps Laura. But if we're gonna create a new position, I don't think it's fair for everybody in this courthouse or anybody that works in Harrison County not to have the opportunity. to
There's a lot of
do this
things not
job.
fair in Harrison County. In this courthouse, have been for years, and it will continue, just like I told you.
So we're
So,
just.
but
gonna
you're here to
continue.
clean it up, right? You're here to clean it
I
up.
thought you were.
I am.
That's fine.
I don't see an issue with this. Yeah.
So,
if
so
we're-
I'll answer or speak to the Commissioner Hinkle's question. I mean, we've always taken the position, everybody should be treated the same because that's how things should be operated. I don't view this so much as a vacancy as opposed to a realignment to align with what she's already doing at the county. I mean, I don't feel like we're really creating a position, we're just realigning her job description to match what she's doing here. That's why, and Laura asked me about it, and I candidly felt and have told you all before, I feel like you should have somebody who has more responsibility for things like procurement directly. And that's one of the purposes of doing this. So I didn't really view it as a vacancy, Commissioner Hinkle. I viewed it as matching her job. Cause I think she's been doing a lot of these things already.
So did you look at the job that she's presently hired for?
I looked at, the new job description.
Well, my question is how it compares to the her present job description?
For grants, I don't believe that I looked at the historic description, no. No. I just felt like the new description was aligning her with what she's doing, and I did think you all needed somebody who had more direct involvement in certain things like procurements and sort of risk management type concepts, and she seemed able and qualified to do that.
And she's been doing a fabulous job. I mean, she's helped with the budget. She's researched fuel cards. She helped out with the issue with the Board of Education and the fuel. Finding a replacement for Oz, updating job descriptions, interviews, she sat in on bid openings and bid interviews as well. She has been a great benefit here down in the commission office, and I felt that this was the right move for her and for the commission office.
And your model has somewhat changed because before you had a county administrator and assistant county administrator as well. I don't know all the history about the hirings because I wasn't here in that time frame, but your model has somewhat changed in the fairly short time, which I've been here the last 2.5 years.
I don't have any issue about the job performance. All I have the issue is we're creating another job. She already has one. And if we're not replacing that person upstairs, then that's my issue is when do we stop creating jobs? So this is just another person to fill. And there's a lot of stuff here that overlaps what she's already doing, so I'm just trying to understand. The AARP funds, grants.
I believe that Michelle has been underutilized. She has great talent. She is keeping ARPA. She has worked tremendous with that. It has, some of them are for same duties, whether it's with the ARPA, the TIFs and stuff like this. But it is a realignment and it falls under day-to-day operations that fall under my
The
responsibility.
position was already there.
The
Grants and special projects. Basically, what we're doing here is splitting
Correct.
one position into.
So it's kind of like the 911 and the OEM.
I don't think we're creating a position. I think the position is already there.
We'll just move that position down to the salt.
She's doing the special projects. Or instead of, and help, she'll help, I mean, I'm sure she will, I don't know if maybe it's not in there, maybe it needs to be amended to add grants to it, maybe that would help, I don't know.
I would hope to think that she would.
I know
She
she
was
would.
very beneficial to me.
She will. And I don't have an issue with that, and I'm sure nobody else on this bench has an issue with that, or. You want to add that to the motion other than. I wonder drop time, still just.
Trey, does it need a motion?
No, got payroll change notice.
The payroll change notice will require a vote, because that's been your own practice, but now we're gonna get into the handbook issue.
You already voted on the payroll change, is it on there, is this part, this is it, she wasn't under the payroll change notice.
She was not under payroll change notices.
There is
She
no
was,
payroll change that I know.
Okay.
we discussed this in the budget and we planned in the budget in March, discussing her salary, that if this would take place, this would be her salary, and that is what we approved with our budget in March. This isn't something really new that I picked out.
We discussed, I don't deny that what discussion wasn't to give her a raise for staying down here. I just don't understand why we had to come up with a detailed list of her duties instead of what she's been doing.
Well, I think it's important that everyone has an updated job description, a list of the duties that they are responsible for. A lot of the job descriptions are very old.
Motion to promote Michelle Conklin, Director of Special Projects.
Motion has been made to promote Michelle Tonkin to Director of Special Projects. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
I'd like to make a motion. That this agreement be amended. That should still work with grants, as grants makes requests to staff for help. I don't think that's too much to ask for, that's.
You would add that to your motion.
I think it's given.
Is that okay? He just amends his motion to
Yes, ma'am.
include the grants that she works with the grants department as
When
well.
I vote yes.
Okay.
Any questions?
Motion, any opposed?
No, no, just who spoke about giving her a raise? I was never part of that.
I spoke with Susan and David about that.
I was just left out. So this has already been voted on
Separately, we've had conversations, but
separately. Okay. Question approved.
Okay, is there any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Review, discuss, consider hiring an assistant director for Parks and Recreation.
Table that until we sit down in the work session and figure out what we want to do with parks and recreation.
The motion's been made to table, until we have a work session and talk about what we want to do with Parks and Recreation.
And then President, second motion to move forward with hiring an assistant director for Park and Recreation. Board.
Okay. Here I go again. I take his first, right? Motion was made to table. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed?
No.
Motion to approve moving forward with the Assistant Director for Parks. Is that your motion?
Yes, thank you, Madam.
Okay, any discussion?
Yes, ma'am, I want to know why we need one at this point. When it's been widely known by everybody involved in Parks and Rec that our assistant didn't do that much. And why we feel that we need to jump in right now.
Well, Madam President, he's not here to defend himself, but I think he did do much, just like a dishwasher does much if he does. So I'm not gonna criticize another man's work as we seem to do every meeting now regularly here. So motion is on the floor and I'll call the question.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No,
Motion carried. Number 11, review, discuss, consider consideration of approval of project fund requisitions for the payment of costs associated with the General Services Administration Building project to be financed from proposals of the Series 2020 bonds issued for the Harrison County Commission, Building Commission. Under A, requisition 81, capital business interiors, $35,835.54. What's the pleasure?
Motion approved for $45,835.50.
Motion to approve for the amount stated. Any discussion?
yes, ma'am, does this finish up what we owe? Or do they still have outstanding things?
for capital projects, this finishes up what we owe them for the original contract. Oh, capital business, I'm sorry.
This is furniture.
Yes, this is furniture.
There are other.
Right.
Yes, so this finishes up the original agreement that we had with them, with that original contract. We did add a few more things to the county clerk's office that we haven't paid for yet, but this does finish up the original furniture.
When they've replaced all damaged or furniture that wasn't properly ordered.
They have replaced most. I haven't been over there this week to see if everything, I know it has been ordered, if it hasn't been replaced.
So we're gonna pay a bill, we don't know if all the furniture that needs to be replaced has been replaced. Due to damage. Or improper. On their work. Does this leave any money that we owe them? Let's just pay them in full.
The only money that we owe them will be then for the stuff for the county clerks that was added at a later time. We can make the motion to approve it pending, I go do a walkthrough and make sure that everything has been fixed.
You can do that. Make a motion
Yeah, well,
to make sure that everything's been fixed before we pass. Yeah,
I mean,
I mean, I don't wanna pay a bill.
I'm not sure, you're telling me we don't know if the furniture is correct.
The furniture is correct. They did have a few pieces that they had to reorder because it was damaged. I have not been over there this week to double check to see if it has been swapped out. I know they were working there last week. I can go over later on today and take a look.
The motion to approve upon administrator confirmation to the commission that the furniture that was damaged has been handled appropriately.
That's all.
Yeah, I do.
Motion as stated, I'm not gonna try to repeat that. one
I
again.
couldn't say it again.
No, I just said, excellent motion.
Okay,
I couldn't say it again.
No.
any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None, motion carried. Number 12, review, discuss, consider budget revision for county clerk.
Motion approved.
Motion to approve, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 13, review, discuss, consider budget revision for Sheriff's Department Exhibit A.
Motion approved.
Motion to approve, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 14, review, discuss, consider budget revisions for prosecuting attorney's office, Exhibit A.
Motion approved.
Motion to approve 14, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Review, discuss, consider budget revision for general county 001, Exhibit A.
Motion approved.
Motion to approve, any discussion? Hearing none, motion carried. Oh, I mean, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 16, review, discuss, consider budget revision for vital services 027, Exhibit A. What's the pleasure?
Motion approved.
Motion to approve number 16, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? None, motion carried. Number 17, review, discuss, consider budget revision for circuit clerk Exhibit A.
Motion approved.
Motion to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? None, motion carried. Review, discuss, consider a resolution creating two funds as stated in West Virginia Senate Bill 631 and House Bill 522 for the use of the county clerk. These are the funds to be deposited for election, which was passed under these two bills.
Motion
In the
to adopt.
last session.
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt the resolution and to fix the proper signature.
Please.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 19. Review, discuss, consider defining properties located at 70 Copeland Avenue, Lazy Hurst is one. Number 2 is 110 Copeland Avenue, Michael Dent. Number 350 Walton Street, Wilma K. Jenkins, and number 460 Walton Street, Charles and Bonnie Ramsey as emergency nuisance within the framework of the IPMC. So the emergency measures abatement can be commenced. And these are all in that one area there. The ones over here and the ones over here.
And I'll make the motion to approve. All the green and under discussion, I want to tell you, this is outstanding. I've waited 4.5 years, Preston. This is awesome. And do it all over the county. We want people to have a certain standard here, and this is it.
So it's the ones in green.
Yes.
And quite frankly, the standard here isn't much. Cut your grass and sweep your porch.
Your motion was to, did you make a motion?
Motion to move forward.
There's a motion to move forward with number 19. Any further, any discussion?
This is just declaring the property as a nuisance, and they will come back with funding request.
No, no,
No, we're gonna.
no. So,
No.
so this is,
This is
and
to clean it up.
I can speak to this.
Okay.
So the reason forward, Commissioner Hinkle, I wasn't comfortable moving forward with the immediate demolition of these emergency nuisances is because the county hadn't adopted the recent version of the International Property Maintenance Code. And you all did that several meetings ago, so I asked that these be brought back before you to be declared as emergency nuisances so that emergency measures within section 109 of the IPMC could be used to tear them down to the ground. It's a method which is used across the state for sort of extreme nuisances. These are unfortunately drug contaminated houses. I believe two burnt down last week, so they need the extreme relief of going ahead and being torn down. Charlotte and I also attended a meeting with the auditor and sort of I'd call her the director of demolition for the state. She was with Huntington and talked about how they utilize this as sort of extraordinary relief within section 109 of the IPMC. But just to make sure we gave the owners notice one more time within the 2018 IPMC, I wanted on the agenda today, you ought to vote on it.
When you're talking about Mrs. Perry, she's a machine.
Yes.
So she
Yes.
said that.
I'm sorry, I did not recall.
Huntington is amazing.
I did not recall her name, but that sounds right.
Amazing.
I mean, I don't have an issue with declaring the properties. I guess my question is, by declaring the properties, is this an open-ended checkbook to clean them up? Without, I mean, let's do it from 200,000, 50,000, 300,000.
So if you want to put some financial
I'm just
threshold
curious.
on cost, that makes practical sense. It's a better question for Charlotte about anticipated cost to get them fully down to the ground.
And there is $150,000 in the budget annually to do this, right, Lon?
That is correct, and that's what I was gonna mention.
So David's right, it may have to be a budget
I mean,
revision.
maybe we could make an amount.
I'm just,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes-
If you get the 150,
Yeah.
you've got, it's a commission
I
decision.
just,
And I'm not sure if we're using those funds or did we get any money from the EPA? Yeah.
Not currently, so we'll be talking again with the auditors and the auditor and his office, because we've been in touch with them about, they have special funds set aside for these dilapidated structures to get them tore down. This is just the steps for us moving forward with this. We'll take it out of the nuisance budget that we already have in planning. And then hopefully later on this fall, we'll be getting another pool of money to get from the state auditor's office to tear down more nuisance
but
properties.
you're gonna have to go in and test these properties for asbestos, so that's gonna be, what, a couple of weeks?
Well, we have an in-house asbestos tester now that it's usually takes how long and how much does it cost?
Once we get in there, take the samples, send it out, get the results, maybe a couple weeks.
So I guess that's, while we're doing that, we ought to be able to find out back then on what kind of costs we're looking at.
And David, one of the key things to this is, and you've heard the same spiel I have, that Ms. Perry is very adamant on, is we don't want to tear one house down at a time. That's where the cost comes in. We want one contractor hired to whack 12 houses and have one demo cost, one asbestos cost, one belt cost. And then that way, perhaps instead of costing $15,000 individually, we may be able to get it to $11,000 times 15, and then we get 15 homes tore down for $150,000 instead of 10.
And that one tank, those ones half the building it was now, because it caught on fire.
That's fabulous. I mean, because you go to 110 Copeland Avenue, I hate to tell you, across the street's another problem. So it doesn't stop.
Well,
Just like
this-
Clarksburg, you got
This right here is one huge area.
Yeah.
And this will take care of all. This will definitely.
So Trey, by declaring these properties as an emergency measure, then that sets the wheels in motion for us to go in and take our samples without property owner's permission, get the pricing and
Demo.
do the demo.
But the one thing that I want to emphasize here is it's not like we've just walked in and, that we've shut the door on you. We asked you, begged you, please, We don't, please take the 4 cars and 27 tires out of your yard.
Yeah, like we've had these for years.
Years.
These are Charlottesville and just one of the properties that they've been after and after, but now that we adopted that International Property Maintenance Code, we finally have tools to utilize us to move forward to demo these nuisance
Gotta
properties.
have the funds.
That was right, my
But I see what he's saying, she doesn't. need
Well,
it.
next week I
We
have
gotta- we gotta know how much
more
it's gonna
Yeah,
cost.
Let
so-
me know what check.
in our package. I'm going to put out to bid 11.
But this tool, so this is the tool of last resort.
Yeah, I understand, and I just wanna make sure we're not just. All of a sudden, we agree to this and she comes back and says, I got it all done and. We're looking at $300,000.
After $150,000, she's gonna have to ask us for more money.
Well, we told her to do it.
Well,
I don't think we got to the vote for it.
Okay,
And if we put like a cap, like for these 4 properties, no more than 60,000, otherwise they have to come back to commission. What
well,
about something like that?
I think if she gets her asbestos done, which you think
Come
you
back
get
in
in 2 weeks.
Come back in 2 weeks.
You ought to be at
Right.
the contractors, not gonna take.
Yeah, it's still,
okay, so I
Yeah,
agree,
we'll have to
David.
put it out for bid.
We'll make the motion to come back to us to approve this
Yes.
and come back to the commission with a budget number, because unfortunately, we may have to make a decision if you go to 185, that you need $35,000 from somewhere. Because, you know, we're not, guys, this is the key. Well, what's the saying in Charleston, Warren?
Move forward to come back, how much is it?
We're gonna clean house before we invite the company over. So let's keep inviting everybody in to West Virginia and Harrison County, but let's clean house first, like we would. I was, you know, come in your house.
Okay, so the motion is to move forward.
Approve and come back with a number before taking action on demolition. But move forward.
We can do the asbestos.
Yes.
Okay, I think everybody understands the motion, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 2, review for number 20, review, discuss, consider a resolution applying for funds from the U.S. Department of Interior National Park Services for fiscal year 2023 Historic Revitalization Sub-Grant Program. And the reason these were added was because we don't have a meeting next week, we need to get this stuff done.
Correct.
We don't want to lose out on this grant.
Right, this is an application that I'm asking for your permission to apply for. It is to revitalize the CCC building, the old Quiet Dell School. And the application is due on the 11th and our next meeting is the 12th, so. We had to do an emergency to get it done today, so I can work on that application. Submit for the 12th.
What's the pleasure on number 20?
Motion, move forward, great work, team.
Motion to move forward. And fix proper signature. Motion to move forward and fix proper signatures on the grant application. Any further discussion?
In the future. Can we, instead of doing these last minute agenda items, we could have come in and got this taken care of Friday.
We call special meeting.
Yeah. I'm just. It seems we're always getting pushed on these grant applications, and I'm not blaming you, it seems to be us on our schedule. And we're forcing the issue to last minute these things because we're not given the flexibility of our meeting times. That's all I have to say. So just, I think we should work with grants more on this.
I don't have a problem with that, but I just am not comfortable signing something without it coming before the commission and signing it early.
No.
So
I want it to come before the commission, I just, the commission just needs to make itself more available for this kind of stuff. If we got a grant issue, then let's sign it.
okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Okay, number 21, review, discuss, consider a resolution authorizing the acceptance of funds from the West Virginia Justice Reinvestment Initiative Treatment Supervision Grant Program.
It's another emergency
Yeah.
item. But, I just got the notification on Saturday that we got this grant. And in the email, he wants them back by the 7th of July, all the contracts and documents that go along with it. And since we're not having a meeting next week due to the holiday, that will delay it to the 12th meeting, so that's why it's put on today's as a emergency item.
Motion approved, the signature, and again, great work, team.
A motion to approve and a fixed signature.
And this is accepting the grant.
Any discussion?
No, I'm sorry.
Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 22, administrators report.
I really don't have too much for my administrators report. The main thing is at the end of fiscal year, all budget revisions to, have been now finalized with today's agenda. We can wrap things up and then start July 1st with the new fiscal year.
But how far can you carry this year's money into July that it was still spending a lot?
You're not supposed to, the invoice has to be dated in June. And then
First, midnight.
Should be done before the end of the fiscal year.
Okay,
Hence all the requisitions that,
okay, I'm tracking.
but we discussed previously.
Okay.
Number 23, commissioner comments. Mr. Treehouse.
Only that I have no problem with moving Mr. Finley on the agenda as we spoke. I think he'll be absolutely asset. That's all I'm saying.
I don't have anything. Mr. Hinkle?
I guess, I'd like to know how work sessions are called, who determines when a work session is set up, and who, has the authority to set those meetings up. I've asked for several, they never happened. One that happened today, I wasn't asked until after the fact if I wanted to be involved with it. So I'm just curious if somebody from the commission can explain how work sessions get put out and that we can have them when the commissioner would like to have one. Also, as I read earlier, it seems that, and this is nothing against our grant department, but other areas are seeming to find grant money for rail trails. And maybe we should work with some of these other counties to figure out how they're getting this money.
Motion
To adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried.